Hi, thanks for joining me for Let's Be Creative with LBC. My name is Tracy Sawyer and I am part of the Education and Community Engagement team. It has been quite a while since I've done one of these videos and I am really excited to be doing this. Today's project is about Valentines, and this time for Valentines I'm going to dig into my stash, which I have aplenty, and make some Valentines with you. Last year for Valentine's Day, I don't know if you've seen any of the videos, but I did a Valentine's Day video and all of the supplies that we used came from ordinary things that one might ordinarily have in the house. So we used brown paper bags as craft paper, and we used aluminum foil as gems. I had a white crayon that I used to embellish, and glue stick. Glue stick does a lot of good. And so today I'm going to dig into my stash and use some of my favorite tools and some of my favorite products to make Valentines. If you want to scope out last year's Valentine video, you can see that and over 150 other videos that are all arts related on our website or YouTube or Facebook, and they are a lot of fun. So if you want to see what we did last year, that's the way to do that. Okay, so this time I'm going to use tools of the trade for a paper crafter. I do scrapbooks and mini books and cards. If you don't have those items, it's okay. You can still make these projects, but I'm going to use my tools today. So you'll want to have paper and scissors and glue. Glue stick's always a good choice. If you have a paper runner, or glue runner, that'll be good. And so gather some supplies and let's get started. So as we get started, I like to begin the process, the creative process for me, with some stuff. So I've got a punch that you push paper through and it punches out that shape. I've got a tape runner. I have dry glue, which is glue stick. I've also got this wet glue because this is really useful when it comes to adhering little embellishments. I've got some packaged sticker packs that I've picked up over time. I've got some little gems, and these are pink, but can be any color. Some little hearts. I have also these little pearl gems. I grabbed a couple of stamps that I have. These are pop dots, which will raise up your embellishment on the paper. A black Sharpie always comes in handy. And then I've also got these are nested dies. I will run them through my die machine, which I'll show you in a bit. And these are a lot of fun. I have quite a few of these, but we're going to use these nested dies. And of course I have a paper trimmer. Scissors are always necessary and I use them a lot, but when it comes to a nice straight edge on a piece of paper, a paper trimmer is the way to go. All right, so now we have our stuff, and I want to say that this is the beginning, and as we go, I'll continue to grab things or change things or get other things that I want to incorporate into a design, and I end up with quite a mess. And so maybe at the end, if I'm feeling it, I'll show you a picture of my big mess when I'm done creating cards. The first step is to make the base for the card, and I will probably make several of the same bases. The tops will all turn out a little bit differently, but I will make as many bases as I can from this piece of paper. This is a piece of scrap paper that I've had in my stash. You don't always have to cut into a new piece of paper. Hold on to larger pieces of scraps and you can use them later on. So the first step is to fold this in half. You can see I already did that. And put it in the die cutting machine. I like small format Valentines, not unlike the ones you see in boxes at the store. And then one thing that's really important, if I were to put this die right on the paper, it will cut all the way around the die. I want the card to open, so I'm going to let the edge of this hang over a little bit. Hang over the paper on the folded side, because that way when it cuts through, this won't cut and it will open as a card. So I've got this laid on the paper where I want it. I'll put the top of the die cutting plate on the top and then roll it through. When I take it off of the die cutting press, this is what comes out. A little die cut heart that opens like a card. I have the rest of this paper that I can also cut for more cards. Okay, so we'll set that aside. I also want to play with some layers with sheets of vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and run it through again. This time I have a piece of vellum on top of it because I wanted to have a little jacket of vellum on top of the card. I don't actually know what I'm planning on doing, but I kind of just like to get things started and see what happens. So this is overhanging here so that it doesn't cut. I'll put the plate on and then run it through. All right, so sometimes with the multiple layers, it takes a couple rolls through the die cutting machine to get it to come loose, and that is the case this time. So here we have a little heart with vellum on top, and it opens to that, and a little vellum on the back. So I'll set aside this die cutting machine and let's see what we can do with this. All right, so let's see what we can make here. I like the little format, and I also like to tuck little parts in and make pockets and pullouts and things when I make books and scrapbooks. So I could put the vellum, this piece, on the inside, which I might do on the next card, but for this one I want to put it on the outside. And I was thinking about getting out my sewing machine, which I am not all that great at using, to sew these together, but I think I'm going to try and see how it'll work if I just do a little bit of tape runner on the spine and then stick this inside the vellum. Ooh, I want to do it wrong. Actually, I just said don't want to do it wrong. There's no wrong when you're creating. They're just design opportunities. If something goes wrong or you get a piece of glue where you don't want it, that's where you put a gem or some other little surprise. Okay, so I think I want to fold this down so you can see the paper underneath. So we'll do that. And that gives us an opportunity to do maybe something underneath. So I have this punch. I think this size is a little bit big for this, but it's what I've got. So let's see what happens if I punch a heart out here. By the way, sometimes what you leave behind is also a fun thing to play with. I could cut this out and use it as a reverse image on another card. So I'll set that aside for future use. All right, so if I tuck this heart in here, well, it's a little bit big. Could go overlap like that. How does it look from the other side? You can't really tell. All right, well, like I said, it's the heart that I have, so I'm going to go ahead and it's the heart that I have with me, and I'm going to do this and just go ahead and stick it on there. A little bit of adhesive here. Glue stick would also work for this, but these tape runners are very easy to use, and once the paper's down, usually you don't have problems. Maybe what I'll do is let it stick out the side a little bit. That's kind of cute. I also have pearls. Oh, here are the pearls. I could put pearls on here. Maybe one under the flap. Oh, that's kind of a cute idea. I like that. Where I have these little pink gems. I don't know if you can see this. It's a little pink gem. It's in the shape of a heart. I also have some purple ones. Valentine's Day can be red or purple or lavender or brown or gray or blue, whatever color you like. I'm just kind of feeling like pink today, so I'm going to go with it. You seeing anything you like here? Kind of like that on top. That's interesting. But then what do I do with underneath? It doesn't really show up. Let's try it underneath. That's Gosh, so many options, I can't decide what to do. And so it goes, right? Do I like that there? Actually, that's kind of okay. And then what if we put some around the outside? Maybe, what size? This size is a little bit smaller. It's also easier to move all these gems with a T-pin. I discovered these through a friend a long time ago, and this revolutionized my placement of gems. So just put them down where you want. Pick it up with the pointy part and put it down with the pointy part. I don't think I like the one under there anymore. So let's pull this one out. Uh-oh, can I get it off? Yes. And maybe that one goes there. I don't like the different size. So you are getting a first-hand look at my kind of crazy design process, and I think it's actually just sort of a general design process. Just keep trying things and see what happens. Maybe it goes there. And if you don't like it, well, do something different. Maybe that'll go there. All right, so there's a little card. Oh, and the inside. It's a little bit asymmetrical, but I don't hate it. And I like the little flop on the card. I also made a die cut for the inside because this is a little bit too busy for my sensibilities. So remember, we cut off part of the edge of the heart by making it so it opens. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on here where it will go. Push that into the corner and flatten it down. And now I will use my paper trimmer. Actually, scissors might be just as easy. I'll use my scissors to cut this edge off so that I can stick this right down here. And then when it opens, it won't be, I will have something to write on, a blank paper to write on, and I will not have it being so busy. If you like busy, you can do busy, but I think this is better. Push it into position. All right, so we have our base for a card, the little flops, some gems. I'm still not sure how much I love that, but I'm going to see if it grows on me. And then when I open the inside, I have my card. Nothing on the back, but I can do something about that later if I want to. Okay, so that was fun. I think I say that every time. I ended up with 6 little cards. I don't know if I mentioned, I love the small format of Valentine's cards, not unlike the ones you buy in boxes at the store where they're usually little things. So this is the one we did together, and I wasn't loving it, but then I discovered all I needed was a little zhuzh on the heart under the flap. I don't know if you can tell, it's all nice and glitterified, and so now I think it's pretty cute and I like it. I like the inside, which is just ready for me to write on, and I like the outside. Distant cousin might be this one. I was playing with the gems when we were working together, and it wasn't really working for me, but here we have one with the gems, and that's kind of cute. And the inside, I think, is a smaller heart. So no two are alike, but they're all a little bit similar. Here's a slightly larger one that looks a lot the same with the little gems and a little hidey pocket. This one I used, I use a lot of newsprint and printed paper. I love using newsprint and paper. So this is a piece of double-sided paper that I put some layers of hearts on and a little piece of trim underneath. Layers are a great answer. One of the pieces I showed you that we had for stash is the pop dots or foam squares, and so you can kind of see how putting those in between adds layers of layers, and that is always very interesting design-wise. I think I have one more. Nope, I have 2 more to show you. I made 6 today. I have a few more to go. So here's another one. I used a piece from a packaged little set of packaged things. I also did the flop. I must be in the mood for a little flop. And then open it up, and it's just got a little piece of vellum on the inside. Oh, yeah, so this one has vellum on the inside to kind of cover up the busy. There's another way of solving the problem of busy paper. And then last but not least, I have 12 by 12 sheets of this XO that looks like paper. So I cut 2 of them out, XO for love, put 2 little googly eyes, and then here's the inside. I only have eyes for you. So googly eyes are sort of a staple. I love using them, and so they found their way into a Valentine. The other thing I did while I was making the bases for the Valentines is I thought, well, maybe a garland would be a little bit of fun. And so I made a garland of brown craft paper. Each of the hearts has a little design for texture, and I'm thinking that this will be really cute to put on a mantle, a windowsill, or maybe a bookshelf. I have one more to add. I'm not sure exactly how long I need it to be, but with that same process of creating a card that opens, you can create a fairly easy garland. And remember, I use my die cutting machine, but if you don't have a die cutting machine, scissors is really all you need. You can either freehand it, or you can trace a heart and then cut around it. The important thing is just to make sure you fold your paper and make a nice crease, and then make your cut, and it'll open, and you'll have two sides, just like I did, but with scissors instead of a die cut. Last but not least, I had other things out that I didn't use. I grabbed some stamps, and I had some, where else? I had other things. I had some fabric pieces. Sometimes what you need is stuff for inspiration, but it's not necessarily something that you use in your finished piece. That's okay. You'll use it next time, or you won't. But that's half the fun of designing and creating and being inventive. And so I hope you enjoyed making Valentine cards today, or if you haven't made them along with me, get some stuff and make them, because you only have a couple of weeks, and they're a lot more fun than store-bought cards. No, that's not true. I love getting store-bought cards too. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed, and be sure to stay tuned next month for another episode of Let's Be Creative with LBC.